Hello and welcome to the Mac and Chuck Show with your co-hosts Scott McKenzie and Chuck Hill. Tonight's episode is all about the candidates running for local office.
Good evening.
Hello, sweaty boy.
A little warm out here. That's for sure. A little warm in the old studio atmosphere tonight.
Hey, would you like to do me a favor?
Sure.
Why don't you let me and everybody else watching this evening let them know who the show is brought to you by tonight?
The show tonight is actually brought to you by Don Chencho Mexican Restaurant. So, we definitely want to thank our friends out there at Don Chencho's. Keep in mind, folks, we appreciate the sponsorship, and if you're looking for something fun to do, check out Don Chencho's over in here in Granite City, over in I think it's Namioki. It's not Namioki Village. Yeah, it is Namioki Village, isn't it? Right next to Club Fitness.
It's gone through so many names.
It has.
It's in that neighborhood over there where Shop and Save and Ponderosa used to be back in the day.
Right next to Club Fitness now. So have a taco and then go work it off.
Or work it off, then have a taco.
Or, either way.
Now I do.
Or have a taco while working out. That's how I like to do it.
There you go.
You know what that's called, Cherry? That's called vomit. That's what that's called. But I would like to mention that your friendly neighborhood Mac and Chuck production team may or may not be at Don Chencho's on Friday before Memorial Day. It's a rumor. It's a rumor.
Sorry, my phone was going off and I had it turned down. So obviously I didn't. But so show's brought to you tonight by Don Chencho Mexican Restaurant here in Granite City. On Thursdays, they have date night going on over there. So check them out. And on Friday nights, you got KJ or DJ Chavo spinning up the karaoke tunes. So, if you're looking for a good time, check them out. And don't miss the Cherry. Is it a bongarita? Is that what it's called? Or just like the megarita?
I think it's just called a margarita bong. However, I do kind of like the bongarita. He should trademark that.
He should. I won't even take a cut of that one.
I'm going to the patent office tomorrow, kids.
There you go. Awesome. So, welcome everybody. Tonight is the candidate show. A lot of our candidates, I guess, didn't realize that tonight was also graduation. So we're going to run things just a little differently tonight. Wow. Right? So, we do have an open line tonight. If you want to call in, you can reach us at 618-507-9066. You can also click in for the link that we put right there in the comment section. So, I keep wanting to say, now here's a story of a man named Brady.
It does not look like you're talking about Brady the way what you're doing right now. I'm just saying.
No.
Okay. So we'll throw this up here right there. People can call in and click in and whatever they'd like to do. And how's your week been, Mac?
It's warm today, kids.
Ooh.
But I'm sure you can attest to that.
Oh, yeah. Once again, like I said, it's pretty warm here in the Mac and Chuck studios. I guess we can call it that, right?
Absolutely. Or the Purple Sky Productions studios.
Purple Sky Production Studios, either one.
Right now, it's the Sweaty Guy Production Studios.
Yeah.
It's the Sauna Production Studios.
I got plenty of water, so hopefully there'll be no stroking out this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will let you know, for the sake of production value, if you see Chuck just fall out, I will remove him from the stream and continue the show myself.
Hey,
and I can be at his house in a very short amount of time.
But if you have to apply CPR, I will turn the stream back on.
I know you will.
Heyo.
I may turn it on myself.
We might get more sponsors that way,
Hey, it's all about the views, man. Do what you got to do.
So it's hot today, but how's your week been overall, Mac? Did you have a good weekend?
I worked.
But you see, you're one of those lucky guys because don't you get like a 3-day weekend?
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Hey, you know what? At least it's 3 days off, right?
Well,
Now-
and not only that, but I can do things during the week that people that work a normal job cannot.
Right,
I'm fortunate.
like doctor visits, car repairs, things like that.
Bank visits.
Bank visits. The
Do
rest of
people
us.
even go to the bank anymore?
I was just about to ask the same thing.
I do.
I don't know that many people do, but I don't know that.
Because I love seeing the teller's smiling faces.
Oh boy.
I'm kind of at that generation of people who used to go to the bank, but really don't go to the bank much anymore.
You don't have any money anyway.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true.
Money?
So,
What's that? What did Adam Sandler say in Wedding Singer? I like money. I have some. I'd like to get more.
Right. So, all right, folks, we normally like to start the show off. Well, if you've been listening to the show for a while, we have a random thought of the week. Mac and I typically will just kind of like switch off and on, unless I've been slacking, and then Mac will take up 2 weeks, which is fine, possibly 3 weeks. Because he's
eat lead, slacker.
Hey, you're the most random thought guy that I know,
I'm the most random guy, period.
But that just means you're thoughtful, right?
I got a lot of stuff going on in this cranium.
There you go. How about you share your random thought this week?
Oh, well, you didn't tell me I was going to have a random thought. I'm not prepared.
You're not prepared? Well,
not really.
I'll tell you what, I'll go.
I
You
could
just sprung that on
complain.
you, didn't
I
you?
always have random complaints if you'd rather have a random complaint.
Is that or is that not a random thought?
A random complaint?
Yes, it's a
I don't know.
thought.
I feel that Sherry's complaints are usually pretty well thought out and very well verbalized.
See,
I'd like to
again,
know
goes
why-
with a random thought.
I'd like to know why every time I go to air up my tire at a gas station, the little chuck at the end of the air hose is busted or missing. I want to know what these are being used for, that I can never find one.
Can I expand on that, if I may?
Absolutely.
They charge you $1.50 for air.
Not at Quick Trip.
So that's the reason for people to steal the little air nozzle?
Yes,
I
'cause they
want to know
air
what they're
of their
doing
own.
with them.
Maybe we can ask our next guest about that, Cherry.
Let's find out.
That's possible. He might have some answers. So we're going to play a quick spot here, and then we're going to bring on our good friend and candidate for sheriff, Jeff Connor.
Hi, my name is Jeff Connor, and I'm running for sheriff of Madison County. I have over 36 years experience in law enforcement, but also I've been a member of the major case squad since 1990. With the 32 years experience I have in investigating homicide, and now the commander of that squad, leading over 600 women and women to solve some of the most heinous crimes in this area. I have what's needed to be the next sheriff of Madison County. We need your help. We need you to get out on June 28th and vote Republican. Jeff Connor for sheriff. Thank you.
All right. We'd like to welcome Jeff to the show. Jeff, how you doing tonight?
Doing great. Whoever did that video did a good job.
I think the guy might have something
come on.
in the future for him.
Don't fluff
Yeah,
his feathers, please.
Do not stroke his ego. Good Lord. I'm going to have to listen to this for the next week.
See, I have to. You don't have to, but I do.
No, you really don't.
Don't worry, Jeff. You've already got my vote.
All right. That sounds good.
There you go. That gives you the freedom. There you go.
Good.
So, Jeff, thank you very much for being on the show this evening. We appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule and your campaign just to kind of, share your thoughts and your opinions. And then, just kind of let us know, basically what office you're running for, what qualifies you for the office. And then also maybe just tell us a little bit, about why we should vote for you specifically. And, then we've got just a couple of questions about, what are people voting for exactly? What exactly does the office of sheriff entail, and job responsibilities and things like that?
Sure. Well, I'm running for sheriff of Madison County, and it's a law enforcement agency, the largest law enforcement agency in Madison County. And a little bit about me: I am born and raised in Madison County. I'm a Granite City boy. My parents, my in-laws, my wife, we all born and raised, still live here. And we both work in Madison County also. Our family, we have 3 children. My oldest is a son that's been a police officer in Granite City for nearly 13 years. And I have two daughters. One's a school teacher and the other one works in physical therapy. So we're a family that likes to give back to the community. And my wife has been an emergency room nurse in Granite City since 1984. So she has probably seen as much, if not more, than I have seen in my 36 years experience as a police officer. So I started in 1986. I was hired by the Granite City Police Department, and I stayed there for almost 29 years. And I retired in 2014 as the assistant chief. And at that point, I had been the assistant chief for the last 9 years. And then my good friend, John Lakin, had decided to run for sheriff of Madison County. And he asked me, he says, hey, if I win, would you come on as a chief deputy? Because I need somebody who knows what they're doing and knows how to run a large agency. I said, I would love to, but you do know I'm a Republican. And he's like, that doesn't matter. I'm a Democrat, but that doesn't matter. So we've had a great relationship, professional. We've been friends for decades, and he entrusted me to come in and be the number 2 person at that department. And now we're knocking on 8 years together running the sheriff's office. During that time frame, I've had a lot of opportunities, and one of them that I really am proud of is in 1990, I was asked by the chief at that point in Granite City to be a member of the Major Case Squad. And for those who aren't familiar with that, the Major Case Squad is the premier homicide task force in the St. Louis region. And I've worked my way up since 1990, where currently I'm the commander over the entire squad. And I have over right at 595 members were just trained last month. And those members are from both sides of the river. And it's a pool of investigators that we can address if we need a homicide. If a homicide has been we've activated on a homicide. So we'll pull from that region wherever that homicide's at. Like we recently had one in Maryville, Illinois. So we pulled from Madison County and St. Clair County. And we do this. Last year was a record year, and not a good record, but we had 29 activations between Missouri and Illinois. And we have a great clearance rate. The task force started in 1965. From 1965 until the one that just ended today in Pine Lawn, we have about an 85% clearance rate, wow, which is really unheard of. And these crimes, and this is what I'm so proud about it, is that these crimes aren't the ones where the person calls 911, said, I just killed somebody, here I am, come get me. These are the whodunits. These are the ones that you find a body on a parking lot or in a rural road or in a home. And to come in and this squad to have an 85% clearance rate since 1965 is just unheard of. Mm-hmm. So with that experience that I've had and leading, help lead the sheriff's office for the last nearly 8 years, I think that experience, and along with my education that I've had an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, and I have a master's degree, all in criminal justice and all in managing criminal justice. So I believe those are the attributes that your next sheriff should have.
So Jeff, it sounds like you do definitely have quite a bit of experience, as well as collaborating with both sides of the river as far as your experience goes. When it comes to the office of sheriff, help people understand a little bit more about that and kind of how being a sheriff really differs from being a law enforcement officer, city versus county, I guess.
Sure. Good question. Number one thing is the sheriff is the only elected law enforcement agent, the only elected law enforcement officer. So by law, there's 102 counties in Illinois, so there's 102 sheriffs. And as the sheriff, I found out more than I realized that I knew is the sheriff has a lot of responsibilities. They're responsible, first of all, for the citizens of Madison County and all unincorporated areas. And Madison County has 267,000 people in it. Wow. So it's a very large county. And there are a lot municipalities. There's around 17 municipalities throughout the county that have their own police agency. So they handle the law enforcement activity investigations within their community. The other areas that are unincorporated, the sheriff's office maintains. And our duties go beyond that, where we also have the jail in Madison County. And currently today we have 279 inmates in our facility. So it's a miniature city of its own. We have a nursing staff of 4 full-time nurses.
Oh, wow.
We are looking to replace one that left. So if anybody out there wants a job in corrections with nursing, let me know. Give me a call tomorrow at the sheriff's office. We're accepting applications for that. But that's a full-time, 4 full-time jobs there. We have 4 full-time cooks that have to prepare the meals, the breakfast, the lunch, the dinner for all of these inmates, because sometimes we may have as many as 350 inmates that are behind our bars, and some of those are long-term. I think the longest that we've had since I've been there is one gentleman was there for 6 years, waiting a brutal double homicide, and eventually he was found guilty and he was moved to the Illinois Department of Corrections. So the jail is another part of it that a lot of people don't realize that falls under the sheriff. And then the other one that we deal with that's different than municipalities is the court systems. We have around 12 full-time deputies that handle the security of all the court buildings. And mainly in Edwardsville, which is the county seat, is the main courthouse, the administration building, the criminal justice building, which is a separate building. We have to have deputies there. They have to have the equipment to screen people, whether it be through a scanner, metal detector, and just to maintain the security of those buildings throughout the county. So if there is a satellite court and there's court that's scheduled, we have to send somebody there to maintain the security for that building during that time frame.
Gotcha. So I'm a little undereducated when it comes to this, because I honestly didn't know that there were I didn't realize that there was only one sheriff, because you drive around, you see the multiple sheriff's vehicles, and I'm guessing from what you said, those are the deputies who kind of work under the sheriff's administration, I guess. Yes,
and I can break it down and give you a little idea of the way it works with our flow chart. Is you have the sheriff, who's the elected official, then he appoints his chief deputy, which I am currently the chief deputy. So I handle a lot of the operations of all the different divisions. Well, our divisions, we have one is the patrol division. Those are the ones in the squad cars that you see answering calls.
Okay.
We have a minimum 6 officers, 6 deputies working the streets at any time, 24/7, 365. We always have a minimum of 6. You try to have more. It depends on vacations and sick leave and that type of stuff. So you have a division of patrol. You have a division over investigations. We have around 12 investigators that some of them work in our building. Some of them are detached to the auto theft task force, and they work after the fact, after a crime has taken place. And then they go and they investigate whatever needs to be investigated. They present cases to the state's attorney, and they have a lot of responsibility of detectives. So I have captains over these divisions. So I have a captain over patrol, captain over detectives. I have a captain over the courthouse security. That's another division. I have a captain over the communications division who handle dispatchers. We're getting ready to expand because we're going to be taking on Highland. But he handles the telecommunicators. He handles the radios, all the equipment that we have. Then we have our jail division. Our jail division has 2 captains over there. That's another 24/7, 365 operation at the jail. So we have 2 captains. One is what we call a sworn deputy. He's been through the police academy. He has arrest powers. And the other one is over a jailer, a captain over the jailer. And all together, you take in our command staff, take in our support staff, and all the others. We have 168 employees that work at the sheriff's office.
Wow.
The sheriff ultimately is over all of them.
So, what kind of changes are you looking forward to should the voters decide to elect you to the office? What changes are you most excited about bringing to Madison County?
I think the first thing that we need to do is we need to get our team together. So I've already announced that my chief deputy is going to be the current police chief in Alton. His name is Marcos Polito. He's a great police officer, a great man, great manager, and he's excited, and we're all excited to bring this team together. So once we get our team together, then we'll address any issues and things that we think we need to improve. And I don't want to come in and get sworn in December 1st and December 2nd, change everything. That's not our goal. I don't believe that's a good way to lead. So we will set up some individual conversations with the different divisions. I've also spoke to our union where I want to have meetings with the union leaders and with us to see what the problems are out there, what our deputies need, what do they want to address. And then the ultimate thing is whatever we do, we have to work within our budget. And our budget's around $16-17 million a year just for the sheriff's office.
Oh,
Is that
wow.
million or billion?
That's quite a bit. No,
Million.
He said million.
Million. Okay.
Million.
But,
What?
but that's
Million.
that is still quite a big number.
It's
Yeah.
a very big number, and it's the largest budget in the county.
Mhm.
And 90 some odd percent of that budget is personnel cost. So when you really break it down, it doesn't leave a whole lot of room. You have no control over the cost of the personnel. They're all under contract, a union contract. There's pay scales, and all of that's figured into the budget. What you do have control over is the rest of the money, which is allocated for things like people may not realize we buy a minimum 10 squad cars every year. We have a pool of cars of over 100 vehicles because our deputies have take-home cars. But then we have to have support vehicles like we take a lot of rural areas. So we've got 4x4 pickup trucks, we've got ATVs, and we've got trailers that you have to haul things out maybe to a crime scene in the middle of the woods. So we have to be prepared for all of that. So there's a lot of budgetary issues that we have to overcome. And then you have to uniform them. You're looking at 168 employees that don't go to their closet and try to decide what colors go good. They're wearing brown. They're wearing a brown uniform, and you supply that. There's a lot of money in just the uniform. But talking to the men and women, those little things like uniform. That's what I want to address. Is there a change we can make in something to some people may seem like, oh, that's minuscule. But when you're wearing that 12, 13 hours a day,
Yeah.
you need to listen to what can we do to make that easier, make it easier on your back, make it easier in sitting in a car, getting in and out and chasing people, running. You're chasing people, jumping over fences, and you got 40 pounds additional on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about winter weight. I'm talking about items on you. So I want to hear from the men and women and hear from the union leaders of what they've heard and address those, whether it be a change in a uniform item, anything like that. I want to help with the morale. And when I spoke to the union recently, I told them, I said, there may be morale issues that I don't know. And there's some morale issues that I do know. But we're not unique. You look at all your fire departments, all your other police departments. You look at your architects, your Fortune 500 companies, your attorneys. There's always a morale issue no matter where you're at. And I want to address those and see what we can do to at least help that morale.
Sure.
And the other big thing that me and my soon-to-be, and I'm speaking as if we're going to win this thing, my soon-to-be chief deputy, we're both really, really big on officer wellness, the mental side of police work. I remember I had 2 years on, and I responded to a call of an accident, me with other officers and other personnel. And we had a family of 5 that was killed. And I remember going home and just putting my head in my hands. It's like I was 24 years old and having to deal with that type with no preparation. And I still can tell you the smell. I can still smell that crime scene. And it's been almost 35 years later.
Wow.
So I want to be able to set something in place better that we already have things in place, but I want to better that. I think that is just a big part of the mental wellness of our deputies and our support staff, our jailers. They deal with some of the worst people back there.
Yeah, I can't imagine the mental. I mean, there's enough of a physical toll, but I can't imagine the mental toll that it takes on some of our officers, just the day to day, and just first responders in general. Just mental health, I think, is a huge thing to address, and it makes me happy to hear that that's one of the focuses and will be one of the focuses of your administration. So.
Yeah, and we'll continue with training. We'll look at what we can do to make things better. But training is, as we all know, training is important anywhere. But in law enforcement, it's very, very important.
So awesome. Well, Jeff, if you would, maybe we played your commercial earlier, and if you would maybe just give us a first of all, thank you very much for being on the show. We appreciate it.
I'm glad to be here.
And then maybe just give us your 30, 45-second stump speech and just, win the votes.
All right. You want me to do that now?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I think now more than ever, with the way that our local government, being our state and even our federal government is, and some of the things that have been attacking criminal justice and the police in our state, especially with this crime bill, I think you need a leader who's connected to the community, who's connected to the legislatures, who's connected to what these decisions that have been made that are affecting our men and women that work these streets and investigate crimes. And I think with my 36 years experience, local experience in this state, with the networking that I've developed from being part of the Major Case Squad, my training, I went to the FBI Academy in 2011 in Quantum, and I had some great training with networking that I think you need a leader with that type of experience more than ever. And I think if you want someone to build your house that had 34 years ago, had electric and plumbing, I don't think you'd want that person building your house today. And I think as a police leader, you need somebody who's had continued education over the last 36 years and is prepared to take over the job.
Awesome. Jeff, thank you so much for being on. Mac, did you have any questions for Jeff?
Hold on. Before Mac talks, I got to cover this emblem. I see his hat.
No, it's too late. I already saw it. I do have kind of a one, because I've always been, since I was a teenager, kind of a political guy. Mm-hmm. So in local races, one of my questions is, what does party affiliation play into it, if anything?
It shouldn't play into it at all. As a sheriff, mm-hmm. It really, as far as the job, it's irrelevant. Right. Other than once you're the sheriff, you have to work hand in hand with whoever's in charge of the county. Okay. And I've seen over the last few years that division and that how that relationship has deteriorated because of the opposite party affiliation.
And so that's just because of party affiliation?
Yes. And we could do a 48-hour show on that. But there's a lot of behind the scene issues that I've already tried to forge those relationships with the leaders. I had a conversation with somebody literally an hour before I came on this. I was at an event and I said, he's like, I support you more than you know, but I can't outwardly do it because you have an opponent and I'm a politician. And he says, but I am ready because you should be the sheriff and I'm ready to get that relationship together again. That bridge has kind of been broken down and I'm ready to forge that relationship. And I think between me and my chief deputy, we both have the personality and to forge that. So that's when the political affiliation has issues on the sheriff's position. But as a whole, the sheriff should not be a political party.
And I kind of would agree with that. I mean, because it really comes down to what is your philosophy on policing, essentially,
mm-hmm. Right.
In my view. And I do appreciate you coming on. And one of the questions I had, which you addressed, was exactly what is the sheriff's job description, which you explained perfectly, and I appreciate that.
Good.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for coming on. Please feel free to stick around into the green room, and we're about to welcome our next guest also. And but Jeff, are you open to questions if anyone has questions later on in the show?
Absolutely. How long is the show?
We've got about another half hour, so if you need to scoot, that's cool.
No, I'm good.
All right, awesome. I want to put you in the green room and you can watch the rest of the show. And
All right.
then we're going to bring on Debbie Ming Mendoza. Let's bring her on real quick. And Debbie is actually, she's the current Madison County clerk and recorder. And Debbie, welcome to the show. We definitely appreciate you being on this evening.
Good evening.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to talk about elections.
Every other year, right? Everyone talks about elections.
Well, every year for me.
Well, and then we all fight about them afterwards, right?
Absolutely.
So, Debbie, thank you for coming on the show. Now, if you wouldn't mind, again, we definitely appreciate you taking your time out this evening. And, one of the things we like to do is just, kind of give us a quick overview of the office you're running for, what qualifies you for the office. And in your case, why do you think people should, vote for you again and keep you doing the job that you're doing?
Well, I appreciate that opportunity. I became county clerk in December of 2012 when Mark Venida was elected to be circuit clerk. So I was appointed in December of 2012. I had my first election 148 days after I was appointed. So every night I went home with the election code to study and make sure that I didn't screw anything up.
nerve-wracking for you?
I'm following some amazing people. Eulalia Hutz, y'all might be too young to remember, but Eulalia Hutz was the county clerk. Evelyn Bowles, Debbie Saltage, Mark Venida. So I come from a long line of great people who did a fabulous job. I want the voters to know that I love what I do. I get up every morning and I honestly cannot wait to get there because the county clerk and recorder's office is so much more than what a citizen may think. I have responsibilities with vital records, with the tax extension, with raffle licenses, with assumed name, elections. I am also the recorder, so I am responsible for all of the real estate property tax transfers in the county. I inherited that job in December of 20. But in 2018, there was a referenda to eliminate the elected recorder position and to combine that office with the county clerk. So in December 1st of 2020, I became the county clerk recorder, and I have been running ever since trying to catch up with that amazing group of people in the recorder's office.
Nice.
I want the voters to know that elections are the most romantic part of the job because everybody wants to know about elections. I talk with my hands. I hope that doesn't bother you.
No, you're fine.
But I want to talk a little bit about the cybersecurity. I know that y'all remember a few years ago when the Illinois State Board of Elections was hacked and voter registration information had been compromised. Mm-hmm. Well, from that moment forward, I have dived into cybersecurity training. I have partnered with Homeland Security at the federal level. I have partnered with the Illinois State Police, with cybersecurity agencies across state lines so that each state and each county clerk has an opportunity to talk with each other so that if a hack happens, we all know about it and we all can close up those holes immediately. We work 24/7 to protect voter registration and the voters' information. I think I've done a great job. I know that sounds a little, I don't know what it sounds like, but I am proud of the great job. I am proud of the great job that myself and the staffs of the offices do every day. And I have not had any type of embarrassments. We've not had any kind of hiccups with elections. vital records moves very, very smoothly. The tax extension, and what I mean by tax extension, the county clerk is responsible for calculating the tax rate, which generates the dollars of your tax bill. And how we do that is we have to have cooperation with the county-wide, all the different taxing districts. They file their levy with me. We take a look at what their assessed valuation is, and we calculate a rate. And by golly, we better be right, because there's no way that we're sending out 2 tax bills to make up for any mistake that's made. And since I became county clerk, we've had perfect elections, we've had perfect extensions, and we roll with the legislature. You know, they'll make a change on a dime, such as what just happened recently with the sub-circuit judges. You know, the new creation of sub-circuits. We had just finished up, wrapping up the redistricting for the county, changing all the precincts, changing county board district lines. And then the legislature says, oh, by the way, we're going to break up the 3rd Judicial Circuit, and we're going to carve that out into 4 sub-districts, and 3 of those sub-districts are going to be in your county, Debbie Mendoza, and sub-circuit 1 is on the ballot June 28th. So we've got all of that work done, and we have candidates who are out there campaigning right now. And I just want the voters to feel like I have experience. My office is full of integrity. And the question that you asked Jeff just a few minutes ago, there are no party lines. I mean, I'm a Democrat, but there are no party lines. I have to stay neutral. I am the election authority for Madison County. So there's none of this stuff about, oh, I don't like you, and so I'm going to give you a hard time.
Yeah.
Now, they give me a hard time once in a while, but I meet them every day with a smile. And if they have a problem, we'll walk them through it. Whether it's my opponent or my best friend's opponent, I will make sure that they don't fail at the mission that they are seeking. I hope the heck I beat them in November, but I'll help them with anything. And that's just who I am and what I am, what I'm about. And I hope that that comes through to the voters.
Okay.
So, Debbie, it sounds like you've got a lot that you're responsible for. If there are, you've been doing this for a while now. If you were, just like I asked, earlier, what changes do you see coming throughout your next cycle? Should the voters put you back in office?
Well, I may not see this change in my term if reelected, but I see that what the General Assembly is doing and what other states across our country are doing, and that's going strictly vote by mail. Vote by mail has its negative connotations attached to that, but vote by mail is probably the least expensive method of supporting an election.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So if you were to give maybe a 30 to 45 second, just kind of, well, first let me ask this. Mac, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask Debbie?
I do not.
All right.
I scared him.
I think you were pretty clear on what you do and everything. So that's awesome. If you had like a 30 to 45 second, just kind of stump speech that you wanted to give, I'd like to give you that opportunity just to speak directly to your voters. And when you're done, I do have a question for Jeff up here. Would you be interested in answering questions this evening also? Should anyone have any?
Yes, sir, of course.
All right, awesome. So Debbie, here's your opportunity to speak directly to your voters and just, let them know why they should check your box off.
Yes, sir. Thank you for this. I would like to address the voter fraud that we hear every night on the nightly news. Voter fraud, voter fraud, voter fraud. I know I run into people every day who says, well, I know that there are deceased people that vote. I know that elections are not fair and that those machines that we use change votes. Well, I need to talk just for a second about the tabulators. We are not connected to the internet in any way. When I became county clerk, I did away with the electronic voting machines and went to a paper ballot, which, by the way, is the safest method of voting according to all cyber security specialists. I have cut down on the costs of what the elections are, but no one in Madison County that I'm aware of that anyone can bring proof of is fraud. There have been 2 cases in my tenure as county clerk, and both of those cases were individuals who attempted to vote for a spouse or a family member through the mail, and we caught them. We were able to report them, and they were prosecuted. But other than that, I mean, when you're dealing with 191 precincts and over 900 election judges, people are human. People may make a mistake, but there is no mistakes that are made that are so major that would foster the notion of voter fraud in Madison County. Not at all. And I'm proud to say that. I'll stick by that. And anybody who wants to tell me they know of a case where a deceased person voted or someone voted in another person's name on election day, bring me that proof. Bring it to me. Show me. And I will either put a stop to it or I will show you that that information that they heard is untrue. And here are the reasons why it's untrue.
All right. I think that you're very passionate about that, which I definitely appreciate because it is a hot topic. You know, I mean, especially after the 2016 election, or the 2020 election, rather, I mean, it's a super hot topic. So, I appreciate you sharing that information. I'm going to keep you on. I'm going to bring Jeff back on real quick. He's been gracious enough to hang out a little bit longer. And Stephen Trask actually has a question for you, Jeff, and he just wanted to know what separates you from your opponent. And I tell this to everybody, talking about differences and everything is fine. We just, obviously, and I have no doubts that you will keep this, fair and just, I guess, so to speak. But what would you say separates you most from your opponent?
That's a great question, and I'll keep it civil. It's experience in local law enforcement, experience in our community. My opponent was born in this area but moved in the 70s, and then he came back a few years ago. He was a police officer in the late 70s, early 80s. I started my career in 1986, and I've stuck with it. So I think the local experience and networking of all the currently I'm drafting a letter. I've got out of all the police chiefs in Madison County, I have them all sign in an endorsement letter, except I believe 3 who by policy and were not allowed to do that. So I think that shows the commitment that I have to this community, and I believe that sets me apart more than anything.
Okay, awesome. So, Debbie, let's go ahead and pose the question to you as well. I'll just kind of give you, some equal time on that. Now, I'm not sure. Are you running unopposed right now, or do you have an opponent for this position?
No, sir. I do not have an opponent in the primary. However, there are 2 Republican candidates who have filed and wish to be county clerk. So I won't know until June 28th, late about 10 o'clock in the evening, before I'll know who my opponent is. But if I can say this, what I've heard from my opponents in the media, what they have told at events that they've been at, that they're going to learn to be county clerk on the job, that they're passionate about returning integrity. They're passionate about voter fraud. Well, integrity never left the building in the county clerk's office. It's 100% intact, and it's not going anywhere as long as I'm there. I can't say about the other. But again, voter fraud. What do they know about voter fraud? And seriously, when they come on your show, and if they would start to talk about voter fraud, then you question them. Well, where is it? What is it? What have you seen? What do you know? And I promise you that they won't have a legitimate answer. Well, okay, I'm going to stop. That's not fair.
Gotcha. So, folks, if you guys are just joining us right now, we've actually got a couple candidates on the show. We have Jeff Connor, who's running for sheriff in Madison County, and Debbie. Is it just Debbie Mendoza, or do you prefer Debbie Ming Mendoza? Or?
Oh, no, Debbie Mendoza's fine.
All right, and Debbie Mendoza, who is also running for re-election to Madison County Clerk and Recorder. If you'd like to ask any questions, they've both been gracious enough to offer the ability and the opportunity to ask and answer. So if you have those questions, you can always feel free to drop those into the chat box, or you can also give us a call at 618-507-9066. I'm going to be honest, guys. It's the first night we're running the live phone line through here. So if we do get a call, we tested it earlier. Everything seemed to work great. So thumbs up for that. Yeah, so, we appreciate you guys being on tonight. And the election, June 28th, right?
The election is June 28th. And if I may, we start early voting in the county clerk's office next Thursday, May 19th. 8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. So let there be long lines. Save yourself from having to worry about June 28th and start voting on May 19th.
So the early voting starts then. When does mail-in voting occur also during the primary, and when does that start?
Yes, sir. May 19th is the same day that I vote by mail ballots that have been requested, and that process has been going on since March 30. Okay. And a person can request a vote by mail ballot up to June 21st. Anything later than that, there might be a problem with the application getting to them and them getting their ballot back to me in a timely manner, because it has to be postmarked June 28th.
June 28th. All right. Awesome. All right. Awesome. Well, I don't think that I have any other questions for you guys. Cherry, do you have a question for any of the kids?
No, that's not your phone line ringing. That's my phone ringing in the background.
Oh, I was like, are we getting a call on the bat phone? I was so excited.
I was going to call in to ask Debbie. I have to wait till 10 o'clock on the 28th before I know.
Hey, well, I'm doing my best, man. It could be 9:30, but I give myself 30-minute, cushion.
Awesome.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
Please encourage your audience to vote, because
Absolutely.
whether it's 50 people voting or 50,000 people voting, which would be my dream come true in a non-presidential election, because voter turnout historically is low in a primary, and some of that is because people don't want to declare. But for goodness sakes, if you know who your candidates are and you know which ones you like, why should you care who knows if you're a Republican or a Democrat? Vote. Because yes.
Here's a great question for you, Debbie. My question is, can you not declare and still pick either side of the aisle, so to speak?
Not in a primary.
Perfect. That's good to know. I appreciate
Not in a primary.
that. Okay, that's good information.
So yes,
I would have a preference that you ask for the Republican ballot, because if you don't, my name won't be on there.
And that's confusing because you're both Jeffs, right?
Oh,
So
yes,
might-
yes.
that might cause a little
even
confusion.
more, but his last name sounds like mine. So
Well-
just remember the C.
I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but do you guys remember an Eddie Murphy movie called The Distinguished Gentleman,
Yes.
where he won the election basically just off of his name only because
that's
people
right.
had always
That's the
voted
premise.
for the same guy, and he had the same I think it was like Jefferson Davis or something like that, and like everyone had always voted for him,
Right.
So I again, Debbie, to your point, I always encourage people to vote, and also do your research. And that's one of the reasons that, I appreciate you guys being on the show, because you're giving people an opportunity to educate themselves on who they're voting for. And on that, they get to put a face to a name, and, they know exactly, who they're voting for. And when it comes to voting, if you watch some of our past shows, we've always been very passionate about small business. That's probably our number one thing. And then also, getting involved in community, and, voting is part of that. And it's just so important, because so many people won't. And then, they want to do nothing but bitch later on about it. And it's like, you really need to step up as a citizen, vote. And, that's just kind of the way I feel about it, what
Absolutely. Don't give up your right. Don't give up your voice. Because they do. When you sit at home and, oh my God, there are 3 different convenient ways to vote. All you got to do is call me. Get online. You can get a vote by mail ballot by Friday. And Thursday, you can come to the office while you're shopping at Target. Come in and vote. And on election day. And it's just, and one more thing. You can register to vote on election day. That is the law in Illinois. So you can't say, well, I'm not registered, so that's the reason I didn't vote. Well, that's bull.
I'll say it for you. I'll say it for you.
But the best way,
man.
Jeff, I'm sorry, honey. I'm in. Oh crap!
I'm trying to get something in there,
but for all the folks who think that behind the scenes is where all the corruption happens, come and work as an election judge. I will hire you. You'll get $175 for the longest day of your life, but you will have an opportunity to process voters, see how the process is, see how the tabulation is done at the end of the evening. And then I dare one of those people to say there was fraud.
Well, I promise you, Debbie, I will not be one of them saying that there was fraud.
I'd kind of like to do that.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'd kind of like to do that, be an election
judge.
You
want to be an election judge? Yeah. Oh my God, that would be awesome.
All right.
Call me tomorrow.
I will. Your enthusiasm is I'm like waiting to come work for you full time, because you have way more enthusiasm than anybody I work with now. It's very livening.
Well, I'm in a chair right now.
All the time, too.
All right, Jeff, did you have more that you wanted to share with us? And if so, while you do that, I'm going to bow out just for a second.
You going to wipe your brow?
Pretty much. The heat in here has decided to affect my light, so I'll be back in just a moment.
Hopefully he's not going to pass out. Just bow out.
Right. Well, if I don't come back, you'll know. Come get me, Kim.
Yeah, I'll come get you.
I was hoping you'd run that commercial again. You did such a good job on that commercial.
He already said he's got your vote.
Yeah,
Jeff,
didn't we talk to him about this already?
Yeah, we did already. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate you allowing this forum, and I wish more people would get on this and listen to it.
We do too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, Jeff, I'm happy to run your spot again. And just to put it out there, before we do, kind of close up shop tonight or whatever, if any of our candidates that are out there have watched the show tonight, and maybe you're wanting to know how you can get on the show, please feel free to send us an email to macchuck2020@gmail.com. Mac, you want to go ahead and throw that email up there real quick on one of the banners?
What are you doing to me here?
You can reach us also at macandchuck.com and facebook.com/macandchuck. And we'll run your videos if you want. We'll invite you onto the show to spend a little time with us. Because again, ultimately, it's just a matter of getting the word out there and educating people and making sure that they're making the best decision that they can. Because Debbie, to your point earlier, I think that voting is not just a right; it's a responsibility for all of us to do. And because ultimately, I do believe that we should be in charge of our government, and the best way we can do that is to exercise our right and responsibility to vote.
Not only that, but get involved. Get involved and come and work with me. I'll give you an experience you'll never forget.
It sounds like you got Jerry sold already. Like,
Maybe, yeah, for sure. It's like, where's the lady with all the enthusiasm? I'm here.
So awesome. Guys, if you had anything else to say, I'd like to give you an opportunity to say it real quick. Other than that, I think we're going to go ahead and close up shop for the evening.
I appreciate your offer to be on here.
You are welcome. And thank you both so much for taking the time. We definitely appreciate it. And both of you are welcome back anytime you have anything you'd like to share.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
you.
Guys. Good night.
Good night.
Hi, my name is Jeff Connor, and I'm running for sheriff of Madison County. I have over 36 years experience in law enforcement, but also I've been a member of the major case squad since 1990. With the 32 years experience I have in investigating homicide, and now the commander of that squad, leading over 600 men and women to solve some of the most heinous crimes in this area. I have what's needed to be the next sheriff of Madison County. We need your help. We need you to get out on June 28th and vote Republican. Jeff Connor for sheriff. Thank you.